Hey, how's it going? Brad Riley here, and welcome to another video. And in this episode of Success Students Saturday, I have an interview with Agustin. Now, the crazy thing about Agustin is he's not only been able to quit his job and run his agency full-time for the last 2 years, but he's also, with the knowledge I've given him, been able to also help both his girlfriend and his brother quit their jobs and live the laptop lifestyle as well. Now, Agustin was actually a student of my academy program 2 years ago when I first released it, and he is now a student of my Entrepreneur Accelerator Mastermind. So if you're interested in joining either of those to get similar results to Agustin, then I'd like to invite you to check out the links in the description. Of course, his book is coming out July 1st, 2020, SMMA Accelerator, the Social Media Marketing Blueprint. So if you haven't already, get yourself on the waitlist, or if you're watching this after July 2020, grab yourself a copy. I hope you really enjoy this interview. It's a good one, and I'll see you in the video. Hey guys, how's it going? Brad Riley here, and welcome to the channel. And in this episode of Success Students Saturday, I have Agustin here. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, bro.
My pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, really great story here today. I'm really excited for Agustin to be on the channel because we've actually been working together now. I mean, I think you took my original program now probably over 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, probably more like 3 years ago, like
Yeah.
the first version of the course.
It's like one of the, probably even in the pre-release, you're like one of the very first people to actually jump in, which is crazy. And yeah, in the last few years, he's been able to do something pretty crazy. So based out of Brazil, he's been able to not only quit his job and, you know, be able to take his business full-time online. You've also been able to help your girlfriend and your brother quit their jobs and, you know, take their business online as well, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really excited for you to share your story today. If you can, just tell people a little bit about yourself, perhaps where you were when you first got started, and then kind of your story throughout the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. So the way I started is I was working in a restaurant, right? And I was the guy that was doing stock. So I was literally counting the beer cans. I was weighing out the meat and the fries. So it was awful, right? So I didn't need a lot of motivation to actually go and try something that worked for myself. Like I always had that entrepreneurial spark. And then I came by you. I don't even remember how, but you struck me down that,
Yeah.
okay, this guy is actually younger than me and he's having success and I want to learn what he's teaching. So that was my faith jump, right? And as soon as I started learning what you Bradley were teaching, a lot of things started clicking. And it didn't take long for me to quit my job because as I live in Brazil, like the dollar exchange is huge. So
Yeah.
I landed 2 customers over 6 months on that, and that's in the first 6 months, right? And then afterwards several, of course. But those 2 allowed me to quit my job very, very fast. And I actually never mentioned that for you. So it was after a couple of years that we talked, and I said, "Oh yeah, long time ago, you actually helped me quit my job." And you were like,
Yeah.
"Really?"
Yeah. I remember, I think it was on one of the live calls actually for one of our like mastermind live calls, and we hadn't spoken in a while, right? And then you just jumped on and
exactly.
said, by the way, you've helped me quit my job. And also, and then you dropped the bombshell like a week later. Oh yeah, by the way, it wasn't just me, it was my girlfriend and my brother.
My
right?
girlfriend, my brother. So the thing is, I actually took what you taught, which was a system to present yourself through Upwork and through social media. And I taught that to my brother, which was also in an awful position with his boss in his regular job. And he actually wanted to be a video producer and video editor. So I actually pushed him and helped me to do that. I did a personal workshops. So I did a live stream with him. I taught him what you taught me. And then like, I think it was less than a month later, he was landing customers inside of Upwork.
Amazing.
So that proves that your teachings works not only like for the social media space, but they also work for the video editing space. And then I helped my girlfriend like a couple of months back because we were already starting to thinking about traveling, becoming nomads, right? And she needed a job that she could do digitally. So same thing. I taught her how to close customers inside of Upwork, and now she's working as a virtual assistant inside of Upwork. So it's kind of insane that it's like a template that applies to everything, right? That's what the beauty of it all, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. That's really crazy, man. And I think, obviously with this current situation with COVID and everything, I'm assuming your traveling's been put on hold for a little bit, but
Yes.
would you, once this is all out of the way, is that what you're planning to do? Are you going to plan to go travel for a little bit?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Just both of us with a laptop, and that's what we can do.
Yeah, man.
We
You
can
can take
travel.
you can take those little photos with the laptop on the beach. Is like out in, well, you already live in Brazil actually, so it's quite nice for you. So wait.
I already, yeah, I am already the postcard that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
do. Like look at that green in my window.
Yeah,
That's
man.
I could do the shoot out there, and it's like, yeah, welcome to Brazil. Everything is beautiful.
Welcome to the
But
laptop
you can come
lifestyle.
here if you take any of your course and learn what you're doing. You close
Hmm.
one or two customers, and you can be living here like
Yeah, for
beautifully,
sure.
lavishly.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Because you were just telling me as well that you're another great thing about where you're based right now is your cost of living is extremely cheap. So, it's interesting that you mentioned that obviously you had success in the social media space, your brother had success in the video editing space, your girlfriend in the virtual assistant space. You've transitioned again now over to websites, which we'll discuss
Yes.
about in a little bit. But it's crazy. You were mentioning that your cost of living is about what, 250 bucks a
Yeah,
month.
$250, top 300.
That's like less than one. I mean, that's a low end management client, right? Like crazy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you were mentioning that if you're selling websites now and you close a website for 3K or 5K, that will cover your living expenses for literally like several years off of one customer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm doing out of website customers, I'm just saving and investing.
Awesome. Awesome. Good work, man. Well, I think that's motivational for a lot of people. So yeah, I want to touch on a few things here really, because there's so much. I mean, you've gone through it all with multiple different areas within it. But I suppose one thing that's good, like kind of common between everything is Upwork, right? That's the one commonality between everything here. So, whether someone's looking to go into social media, web design, VA, whatever, right? What would you say if you've got some advice for people, maybe 2, 3 tips? What builds up a good profile? What helps you stand out? Because you've noticed this across several areas. So what would your advice be to someone just starting up with that?
Yeah. So I think like the biggest tip that I would give people is to present yourself in a way that shows that you have done a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
So what you taught me is like fill out your profile, put a lot of works in there, a lot of let's say we're talking about social media, right?
Hmm.
Like if you don't landed a customer before, take your parents, take your friends, do their social media and fill out your profile.
Yeah.
Have maybe a website with all the work that you started recreating. So as in my case in web design, I didn't close a first customer in my first day. So I actually recreated 6 websites. So I'm always
Hmm.
practicing, even though I haven't landed a customer. So
Yeah.
in that way, I'm not like stagnated and waiting for customers to arrive.
Hmm.
So fill out your profile, show that you actually know what you're doing, right? So
Hmm.
that's kind of obvious, but not a lot of people do, right? Like they want
Of
to
course.
start
Yeah.
with something that has very blank.
Hmm.
And then my second tip would be uh, use your personality,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the day, we're all using templates for email, for social media, for Upwork, but you got to sparkle something about you.
Hmm.
And that's what, because customers love your job, but they're going to hire you because of your personality and because
Hmm.
they trust you. And the best way to build trust is to, like, if we could, we would look them in the eye and say, yeah, it's me. I'm a little bit quirky, but
Yeah.
this is who I am, right?
Yeah.
So putting video in your Upwork profile. So maybe in your writing, like things that showcase a little bit of your personality, that
Hmm.
also seems to work beautifully.
For sure.
Because there's something very interesting about my girlfriend as an example, that she landed, I think, her second interview.
Hmm.
That's it. That was, now she has a customer for life.
Hmm.
Why? Because she just sat down and talked with a girl, and she was very honest, and they both liked each other, and that's it.
Yeah.
You always have to remember that there's people on the other side of it.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's great advice. And I think similar to that as well, another tip, I suppose, it's very close to that is being personal, right? Like if you're doing outreach to somebody, like paying, if they have their website, pay attention and just tell them, hey, I checked out your website. Like, I really like this coat that you sell or this product. It's great. Like, I'm thinking of getting one. And also I noticed you're looking for help with this, like also like touching and being personal, I think helps so much. And especially, you've come from an example here where you, your brother and your girlfriend all had no experience when they started. So the fact that you've all closed customers, based off of that, I think, yeah, that's some really great advice. So
Yeah.
based off the back of that, now you made the transition to web design, and I believe you were telling me it's because that's more of a passion. So initially it was social media. I mean, let's start by this. How come you initially started with social media, and why have you made the transition across to web design?
Yeah, so I started mostly with social media because I saw the beauty and the scalability of that service, because I
Mm-hmm.
could close like 10 clients and work the same rough hours
Mm-hmm.
that if I close just once,
Yeah.
right? So that's the big difference between web design and social media management.
Mm-hmm.
But then it came a point where I didn't find a lot of pleasure in the things that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually wanted to pursue something that I feel it was a little bit more creative and
Mm-hmm.
something a little bit more personal that showcased who I actually
Sure.
was. So that's why I migrated to web design, where I can put like my full creativity, but I still use the same principles to close clients, to find clients, to showcase my work. And just as the tips that we were talking about, like
Mm-hmm.
putting my, if you haven't closed a customer, keep creating, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
but
I
yeah,
mean, so how did you learn web design then? If you've got no previous experience, I mean, do you have experience? Did you like teach yourself? Like, how did that work?
I mean, nowadays that is a broader question, because everyone has access to a
Of
lot of
course.
information. So it's
Mm-hmm.
only a matter of organizing that information.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a couple of courses on web design, but
Mm-hmm. Of
only doing them, like watching them, it means nothing. You have to actually
course.
put the work and practice. That's the main difference that I actually feel that right now I'm in a good place as a web designer, because I
Mm-hmm.
actually practiced. And
Mm-hmm.
I
For
can't even
sure.
believe that's a tip, but
Yeah.
nowadays
It
it
is.
is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's like that Gary V thing, right? As well, where someone asked him a question and he was like, I don't know, but just literally go to Google and type it in. And the chances are, you can either find the information, or if it's a bit more advanced, you could find a program that teaches that information. So, and especially with something like web design as well, I'm pretty sure, there's stuff on Udemy and stuff like that where
There's a
courses are
lot.
$10, and you can learn A to Z exactly how you can build out websites. So,
Yeah,
and that's
like
crazy.
the best course I did on web design was actually on Udemy, and it was like $10. And that's
Yeah.
what introduced me to web design. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I can see like way beyond this course, but
Hmm.
this guy taught me, and
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Good work on that. So, with people maybe, well, so the big lesson there really is that, you initially you got started because you wanted to break out. So obviously social media is better than counting stock at a restaurant. Okay. So you made that transition, but
For sure.
once you got your foot through the door, you then was able to look at that position and be like, okay, cool. I'm here now. I've got all this information on how to get customers, but my true passion is XYZ. In your case, it was web design, in your brother's case, it was video. So, you can make that transition across into doing what you want, which is fantastic. So, I mean, let's say there's someone in a similar position. Maybe they got one or two clients, but they're not in love with social media. Maybe they want to go into web design like you. Do you
Mhm.
have any advice for making that transition? Or is it even more simple? Is it literally just a case of keep everything the same, but just change the service? Or is there more to it?
It, yeah, let's say if we're talking about they're using Upwork and this way of generating clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally as easy as changing your profile and
Yeah.
start pitching your new service, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe, okay, you don't feel confident enough because you don't have the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna tell you, 1 month and a half ago, I didn't have the background either, but now I
Yeah.
have like 6, 7 websites under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not of actual customers. Only one, I think, is from a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Those were because I sit my butt in the chair and started
Uh-huh.
coding and creating websites.
For sure.
So go after it, practice, but it's just as little. You just need to want to, right?
Mm-hmm. For
So
sure. Yeah, and I've seen some of the websites you've done, and they're really great, man. Like when you sent them to me, and this is a prime example of what you said about almost like build your own experience. But the best way to get there is to practice. It's to like obviously learn that information from like a course or from Google or whatever. But then that's going to get you 20% of the way there. The rest of the 80 is honestly just that practice and putting it into place. But from the work that you've shown me, like, let's say I was looking for you on Upwork, I wouldn't look at your work and be like, this guy's a beginner. He started 6 weeks ago. I would look at that and be like, well, this guy's a figure of authority, clearly knows what he's doing. And that's because you've actually gone through and you've built those websites out, not for customers, but for yourself. And I think there's
yeah,
a big lesson there. which is really important. And yeah, if people want to transition, it's great to know with something like Upwork, you can just change up,
Yeah, you can
up
change
your
it
profile.
very easily. Yeah, and just one last tip: if
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking about doing anything creative, like in the area of design, video editing, or things like that, one thing that I would strongly recommend is emulating. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
you have, in my case, I had a website that I really liked. Oh, try recreating it yourself.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you're gonna have a template on what did they do right, what did they do wrong, and you can change it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this applies to a lot of creative niches as well. So
Mm-hmm.
you can see something, try recreating it, and when people see that, they're like, wow, I actually want something like that, right? So I can clearly see that you can do it, because
Mm-hmm.
let's say I want a Nike website, and if I copy a Nike website, they're like, wait, he's capable of doing that. So
Yeah.
that's something that a tip that I will give as well.
For sure. Especially if, I mean, you can only imagine how much Nike paid for their website. So if you can go in and emulate that and create it for 100 times cheaper, then obviously that's great for them, and it's a win for you at the same time.
Yeah, and you learn as well. So I learned from a guy that designed a $10 million website. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Cool. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, yeah, a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap it up. But the first thing is, where can people find you? Because you mentioned to me just before this that you've actually just started up a YouTube channel where you're going to teach people how they can get clients, all about web design. Yeah. So what's the channel? Is it just your name, or where can people find you?
Exactly. And let me just say that you were one of the proponents of, you were always telling us like, you should create YouTube channels, you should create a personal brand. So it's thanks to you that this channel also exists.
Awesome.
Just created, it's called Awe Station,
Mm-hmm.
like AWE Station.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can put a link down below.
Of course, yeah.
And then I'm going to be teaching about web design. I'm going to be teaching about design principles, and also going to be teaching how to close clients through Upwork.
Awesome.
Thanks to who, of course. and if you're interested in having some awesome websites done for a guy that's quirky just like me, you can find me on agustincarrozo.com. That's
Awesome.
Just my name, and you can check some of my work.
Yeah, I'll put all the links to everything in the description, and yeah, I think people, definitely go and check them out. And if you need anything web related, which to be fair, when most people, whether it's an agency website or if you're looking to build a personal brand, or whether you're offering that as a service within your agency, that's all stuff that you can cater for. If you want Agustin to help you, like you said, he's got the website will be linked down below. Or if you just want to learn how to do it yourself, I'm sure that the content that you're going to be putting out will also help in that regard as well. So definitely go and check that out. And then, final question for you. Obviously right now you're in the Entrepreneur Accelerator Mastermind. You've been in the academy. For people on the edge who are perhaps like they've thought about it, but they've not taken the leap yet, what would you say to those people who are thinking about jumping in?
I would say that right now there are literally no excuses, right? And at the same time that there are no excuses to take that leap, there's also nothing. What's the worst that can happen, right? And what's the good that can happen? You have to do that, right? I have support for the rest of my life. I have tips for people that have been doing that for years. And on the other hand, okay, I just spent like X amount of dollars and I learn from it and repeat, right? That's the only way to learn. So go full in, like just jump in.
Awesome.
What are you waiting for? Like, this is pure value. That's how you grow.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Well, you're in the community as well. So if anybody does obviously jump in, they can speak directly with you. You're in the Entrepreneur Accelerator as well. And yeah, like I said, go and check them out. All of the links to Agustin's stuff is in the description. It's been a pleasure having you on. It's been great to see your journey over the last few years. And appreciate it. I'm sure everybody's loved the interview. And we'll have to do another one again 6 months from now. You can keep us updated on your web design journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? My YouTube channel can skyrocket.
Who knows? Yeah. And I'll be coming on your channel and you'll be.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty. Like making connections, keep learning, keep implementing.
For sure.
It's just as easy as that, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me for this opportunity. And I can thank you enough for changing my life, my brother's life, and my girlfriend's life, and maybe some more lives down the line. Who knows?
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I appreciate you being on, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, so there we have it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like. And if you haven't already, be sure to grab yourself a copy of my brand new book. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.